start experiencing the health changes from the einkorn, it'll just happen naturally. But then we have the responsibility of having enough einkorn to meet the supply demands, and that's going to be the big project. But here's what's coming for you in the fall. Do you want more einkorn?
Yes!
Okay. So what's coming in the fall is a cookie and muffin mix. And einkorn flour by the bag.
Thank you.
So I'll give you a preview of convention for next year. Every year there will be new einkorn products to be introduced at convention. So what's on the chart for next year? Something that your kids probably all love eating for breakfast, and that's cold cereal. I happen to have a roller mill at my house where I make rolled oats for my horses. So I'm making rolled oats for all you horses. Out of einkorn. We're going to have einkorn breakfast flakes next year at our convention.
That's awesome.
And einkorn tortillas. That'll be on next year's agenda. Can I tell them about the other project I'm working on?
We don't tell
They're
anybody.
silvers, honey. And they won't tell anybody. What is shared here?
What is that?
What is shared here stays here.
Oh, absolutely.
What is shared here stays here.
Can we guess?
One person who won't keep it a secret. She's right.
You still have to ask your partner.
I'm so excited I can hardly sit still because I'm going to make you a whole bunch of new products. A whole bunch of health products. Oh, and it's already started. It's already started. I just, oh, honey.
Listen to your wife.
We're patient.
It's so great. I don't want anybody else to, steal it from
We'll be patient.
We'll wait.
We'll wait.
It'll be
We're
really
patient. We're patient. We'll wait.
Tell us tomorrow.
Oh. I'm not kidding. You will all go ballistic when you find out. I shared this with my executive team a few weeks ago. Told them my plans and what I was doing. And this was a comment that came back from the legal department. Gary, this is too good. We need to take these products that you're going to develop, and create another marketing company. And I says, on what? Compete with Young Living? Well, no, make it an extension, make it an arm. But I said, no. I mean, God made that mistake. Well, he did. He made you, and then he made us, and then. So anyway, that's coming. So I've already, and I'll just share this. There's some of you that are farmers here. Right? Yeah. Okay. If you're a farmer and you have over 100 acres and it has had chemicals on it, I'm going to tell you something else that I'm really, really excited about. And this, I think she'll let me share.
Yep.
We just got the documentation, the hard copy from Germany last week. I've been working on this project for 4 years, and I've been trying to get validation. And we got it last week. You see, the farm in Ecuador is certified organic by the European Organic Society, the American Organic Society, and South American Organic Society. But this is what I do know. It's like chocolate. I cannot, no matter how much I teach about commercial chocolate, will people quit eating chocolate? No matter how much I talk to farmers about using glyphosate and Roundup, they will not quit using it. So my mind went into the space, okay, what can I do next best? Rebuild the soil.
Yeah.
So I started testing, and we've been 3 years in this testing stages of spraying a piece of ground on the farm, a little half-acre plot, Roundup. Application after application after application after application. 10 days between, 15 days between, 20 days between, 30 days between applications, and pulling soil samples. The saturation of glucophosphate in the soil was unreal. So now how can I, destroyed all the microbes, destroyed all the enzymes. What can I do? So I went to work and I made a formula.
You got it.
And I made a formula and I started spraying the ground with the formula. We sprayed it one application. We pulled samples every 10 days. And it digested the glucophosphate, all the chemicals, and reestablished the enzymes and the microbacteria in the soil. Back to organic status.
Thank you.
And you have it every day. Digest. So I've changed the pear-free formula as of last week. Because our tansy is in short supply and will be for another 2 years while we're waiting for our fields to develop with it. I pulled tansy out of pear-free and I put digize in its place. And we have documentation that digize will digest chemicals and parasites. That is the most powerful substance that you can put in your body. So anytime you're in question, just take a capsule of digize. And if you burp, it'll stay with you longer.
It's true. Take some peppermint.
I just wanted to go back to her question about beauty of the skin. It has to start on the inside. You know, you can't just put oils on your face and expect to have results. You know, I've never been a sugar eater my entire life. I've always been the one who cleaned vegetables off the dining table.
That's why she married me, because she was sweet deficient.
So you have to do both. It's just like when I birthed Jacob and Joseph, and when we were talking about having kids at a later time, had an ultrasound done down in Palm Springs by medical doctor, Dr. Davis, who's now passed away. But he said, my gosh, Mary, your insides look like a 25-year-old. Why? Because of the way I've eaten. You know, and I had a perfect pregnancy, born on their due date, no medical intervention whatsoever. So what does that say? It's not about the oils, it's about the health of the body.
Not only that, at her tender age, she didn't have a stretch mark, and I can show you.
Now that he made Mega-Cal for me because the boys took a lot of calcium, especially Joseph, and he made Tender Tush. We were, what did we call it in the beginning? Blue Goo. Yeah, blue Goo or something like that. Well, no, we called it Baby Blue. Well, what an awful name for a product. You know, so we started thinking about it, what could we call it? So we went from Tender Tush on my stomach, and I do not have a single stretch mark anywhere on my body, to Tender Tush on the backside of Baby. And you know, talcum powder is very poisonous. It's got aluminum in it. You know, so why not use something that's going to help rather than hinder? So, you know, several of the products came because of my condition. He made sclerescence because I took so much clary sage that when I smell it now, I still get nauseous. I just barf when I smell it.
She drank 2 quarts of clary sage during the 8 months of pregnancy.
No, before, not during.
Yeah, very clear.
Before, just building and strengthening the hormonal system of the body. And today I take a capsule of sclerescence in the morning and at night, and that's all my body needs. But he added peppermint to the clary sage to make it more tolerable for me. And so as a result, you have sclerosins. I mean, I've been his guinea pig for a long time.
Been successful so far.
But that, you know, that's what I did. So that's the total answer to your question.
Oils that I use,
Yay.
number one is highest potential. I use it on me and I use it on my horse when I'm competing. And it's been great. And I use Shutron. Now it's called Shutron. Before it wasn't. Just single oils that I put together, and I use Shutron. Are any of you guys using Shutron? One, two. Any of you ladies using it? Okay. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this: it does what it's supposed to do. No.
So she gives you rutabaga.
Say where you put it on the rug, right?
Yeah.
Say that for the Alabama girl.
Well, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for more of you women using it, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because it raises testosterone. That has been documented in men, so we're doing a study now to see how much it'll raise testosterone in women. I want to raise the testosterone in you women for this reason. That's what protects bone density. All right? And will prevent osteopenia and osteoporosis. So start using Shutron and just pay attention. If you have the wherewithal to go in and have tests done before.
I have to tell you, when the label came back from legal, it said you have to consult a doctor if you're pregnant. You had to have that by law on that label. Arlene called me and said, "Mary, you won't believe what they're making us put on this label." And I said, "We can't put that on. How ridiculous. This is for the men. Yeah. What are you going to think as a man when you consult with your doctor if you're pregnant?" So I reworded it and just made it a little bit different, and we got by legal and they took that off. You know, like for a man or a man's blend or so, I can't remember how it came out, but that's why it gives you the impression that it's for men, that it's for everybody, but we didn't want that stupid sentence on the label, so that's why. Sure, you can use all your oils on sugar. Sure, of course. You just have to be smart with children. Just use your common sense. You know, depending on the age of the child, dilute it down. Don't put full strength on it. It's just like when you're using peppermint for a baby with fever. Put peppermint on your fingers, on your hands, rub it around until your hands are dry, and then put one hand under the back and the other hand over the tummy. You don't drop peppermint on the baby's tummy. I mean, we do with our boys, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. We've never seen a reaction with kids. Never. And our boys are a big bathed in oils. When anytime anything goes wrong, it's like, I need an oil. And now they go get the oil that they want. They know so much. Joseph absolutely loves frankincense. They all love frankincense. They know peppermint. There's a new pain formula that's coming out very soon called Cool-Azul. We've been playing around with it for a couple of years, and it's fabulous. And that's what we use at home. It's called Cool-Azul. It's coming very soon. Right?
Awesome. Yep.
So you wait. For what? I just use whatever comes to my mind. I'll tell you a really funny story. We were out on the water down in Ecuador, and Gary didn't put sunscreen on his legs, and he was in the boat rowing, and he burned the top part of his. Was it here?
St. John.
Oh, that's right. It was here in the St. John. I'm the one who got burned in Ecuador. That was miserable. But we get back here to the farm, and he's getting redder and redder, and he's really miserable. Well, we were looking for the lavender, and he didn't have it right at his fingertips, but there was his spike there.
I'd gone to the bathroom and took my pants down because it was hurting my legs, just the fabric. And I was sitting there on the toilet seat looking at my legs, and this is ridiculous. I know better than this.
I didn't know that.
I called Mary and I said, "Could you give me the lavender?" brings in a bottle. It was empty. Boy, it was burning. It was just getting worse and worse. You know, third degree sunburns do. And I looked over on the counter of the sink and there was a bottle of spikenard. That'll do. And so the new Lavaderm has spikenard in it now as a result of that. But spikenard, if anyone has a sensitivity a little bit to lavender, because I run into that every now and then, not too often, but spikenard is superior to lavender in some of those sensitive cases.
That's all I was going to say. But, you know, we learn a lot of things from all of you. People come up and tell us that they did this with that oil and this happened with that oil. Wow, we didn't know. You know, this is a time of learning and discovery. I mean, Gary's knowledge is vast. It's really vast. But he does know everything. And there's all these new oils that are coming, and he discovers something about a particular oil, or he sees what compounds are in it, and he says, oh, this will be great for this, or that'll be great for that. And he goes by what he sees in it and by what he feels. But you're the ones testing them. You know, we love your stories. We love what we hear. I always hear something new from Sherry. I mean, she's amazing with what she discovers. But we're all like that. So share your stories. Let us know. Send it in.
Jerry, earlier you mentioned hormones being real imbalanced for men and for women. I was just curious to what you feel like is best for that. And then I had another question for you, Mary, in terms of lipstick, the El Briante, or I don't know how to say it.
El Briante?
Yeah, the color is as strong as, is there a way to make the color any stronger than it is?
Have you tried all three of them?
No. Should I go to winter? I did summer.
I don't know. You'd have to try it and see, but you got to remember, strong color probably is going to come from chemicals.
Yeah. That's what I was
You know, it's a little frustrating because you put it on and like 15, 20 minutes later it's gone. Well, because it doesn't have any gluten in it to hold it together. It
We
doesn't.
could put it in.
I mean, we can put gluten and chemicals if we want something stronger. But the whole objective is to get it away from all this poisonous stuff. So you just have to experiment and, you know, put beet juice with it. You know, just experiment, try.
No hormone question, just raising hormones properly. That you commented on down there, I was curious to what you would recommend the most, or what y'all use the most for balancing hormones.
Okay. For men and women?
Sure, I got a man.
Well, if you balance a woman's hormones, a man's will automatically balance.
He's a comedian too.
Nice. Nice.
I think it's the other way around, sir.
Well, I know what you ladies call PMS, so. Okay. You know, we joke about it because it's just a thing in life that everybody's going to have an experience as they go through life with having hormone changes. Where I really started looking at life different was when I was in Azerbaijan, 96,
Yeah.
back then somewhere.
Before the boys were born.
Yeah, I went there to do research on the older people. And I sat down with a couple one afternoon out in the front yard under an apple tree and I was interviewing, and I had to have two interpreters because of the different dialects that were in that country. We were just outside the village of Lyric, if you want to look it up on the internet and see where it was at. But the gentleman was 128 and his wife was 118. And I was asking them about, you know, what was their secret to longevity and good health. Now, this was really important to me for another reason. You see, here in the United States and in the world pretty much, it's believed that stress is the cause of disease. And I'm saying that is not true. That's a fabrication. And the reason is because this gentleman at 128 was as healthy as any, well, healthier than any 45-year-old in this world today. But he'd been in a Russian prison war camp for 28 years after World War II. And when he came home, he never found his son or wife ever again. Now, you tell me what would be a greater stress than that. Okay? And he's just as healthy. He had all of his original teeth and was great. And so we talked, and I'm asking about their diet, about their lifestyle. And in our conversation, I didn't ask this question. He asked me. He says, would you have anything that would help my sex drive?
At 120.
Oh my gosh.
I looked at him and I'm saying to myself, at 128, I think you deserve to retire. And, you know, and I'm trying to think of what to say, you know, and be politically polite. And finally I said, well, what, you know, I mean, are you, well, how active are you? And he said, well, that's the problem. He says, you know, it used to be 2-3 times a week, but the last couple of years I'm, you know, my wife and I maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. And she was just sitting there looking at the ground, and her ears were just turning beet red as he's telling me this. And after he said, you know, last couple of years, maybe once every 2 weeks, I said, what's your secret?
Yes.
And here's the secret, and it's no secret. It's hormones.